Hello everyone, and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin, and we're going to start our solo playthrough of Dungeon Alliance. Designed by Andrew Parks and published by Quixotic Games. This game just started delivering from Kickstarter. I can guarantee you it's going to be in retail. It looks awesome. Are you looking for a dungeon delving solo game where your brain melts into little tiny bits because of all the different things you have to think about? Oh, yeah, that's this game. Oh, hey, you like deck building? Get it. Hey, you like dungeon delving? Get it. It is awesome. I have played it now 3 different times. Each time, totally a different experience. Each time, my head almost fell off of my body. I was enjoying it so much, and there's so much thinking involved. And each time, I have no idea if I really won or lost. We'll get there when we do the playthrough itself. So just like normal, this will be our setup video, and then after this, we'll jump into the playthrough. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do in setting up the game is set up your frame based on the amount of players. I am doing a 1-player game, so I look for all of the frame tiles that say 1 player, and I make the outside border of our dungeon. That's because we need to make sure that when we explore the dungeon, it fits into this specific space. I have to say, these are kind of cheap and they keep coming apart all the time. It's a little bit annoying. So if you see that they fall away during the middle of the playthrough, sorry about that. But I'll make sure I have this range or tile set up for the dungeon. You'll also want to determine your color. So I'm going to be blue so you can see my starting tile is blue. I'll also grab my blue wound tokens that I'll be using by placing them underneath enemies that I do damage to. In a solo game, it doesn't really matter what color wound you use because you're the only one that's going to be wounding enemies. But in a multiplayer game, whether it is co-op or competitive, you're going to want to know if you damaged any enemies and when you damage them, because if you damage them first or if you damage them the most, you might be able to get more XP from other players. You'll also receive 4 snap-on bases for your 4 minis, because that's right, you're going to control 4 heroes in this game, even in a solo game. So you're playing this competitively, co-op, whatever, you're going to control 4 heroes. Your deck is going to control those 4 heroes. Lastly, you'll have this teeny tiny little draft token. It's very, very small, but you're going to use this to track how many cards you've drafted in your deck, into your deck, because then you'll get to draw more cards or discard more cards every round. The next step is grabbing all of the enemy cards here. So I have all the enemy cards and down here the supplement cards for different traps and treasure tokens. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to place the specific cardboard chits on those cards themselves, because these are going to be the enemies in the game. We'll be placing them out on the board. You'll see how that works, and what we'll do is, we're not going to go through these in detail here. When they show up on the board, I'll show you their cards so you understand how they work. Not only are you going to meet enemies in this game, you're also going to meet potential challenges, and they're all going to be based on the tile level. So we have a level 1, level 2, and level 3 challenge tokens. You mess those up, you're set to go. Then I am going to play with this fun little expansion called the Deck of Many Treasures. What you can do is, when you step on a treasure, if you decide to delve deeper into it, you can draw one of these cards. Half of them are good and half of them are bad. And they can even potentially spawn a minion, and it's like a chest minion, which looks cool. So you'll also want to grab these chest tokens. If you don't have this expansion, you just won't include this. Not a problem. Next, we're going to do the fun part of the game, and that is going to be to draft the heroes. So I've played this game now 3 times. This is going to be my 4th playthrough. This is going to be the first time I'm drafting heroes. All the other times I've used the preset alliances that are provided in the rule supplement. So this time, I'm going to try drafting. So what we do is we'll move the deck to the side. We'll reveal 2 heroes. We have Root and Graltar. Each hero has a ton of different stats on here. So this is their attack, their type of defense, and their defense. So this is like a dodge defense instead of an armor defense. Their movement and their health. They also have specific classes that you'll see there and what type of race they are. For example, here's Graltar. Graltar is a half-orc who his class icons show he's stealth and celestial. Versus Root over here. Root, I believe, is an elf. Yep. And he's primordial, and he's actually 2 of those icons. So he's really primordial. That's really his main class type. So now I get to choose one of these 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the starting cards for both of these heroes, because each hero will give you 3 starting cards. That's how you'll get your first starting deck of 12 cards, 3 cards per hero. Then what I'm going to do is, based on those 3 cards and their stats and their class and their race, decide if I want which one I want on my team. After looking at them closely, I decided I want to do Root. First of all, I am Groot. That's just what it reminds me of. But second of all, his cards look pretty sweet. He's got a control spell, an attack spell, and he can do some healing, which is great. So I'm going to keep him, move him aside, and then I'll draw 2 more that I can draft. We have Melinda, or we have Chrome. Okay. For this one, I'm just going to make a decision because I've played with Chrome twice, so I kind of want to try a different hero. So let me grab the cards for Melinda. The cool thing about Melinda is Melinda has the same class types as Root. So that means that cards that I draft for Root will have these icons on them so I can use them. We can also use with Melinda. So it's really important that you keep heroes that usually will have the same type of class icons. It gives you more options when you have cards in your hand, which heroes can use those cards. So yeah, she's a different race because she's a gnome, but she at least is the same class. Here are her 3 cards. She has Eagle Sight, Spark, and Animal Instincts. Yeah, cool. I'm so excited. Okay, let's grab her off. We'll grab 2 more. Lorna. I played with Lorna. And Sonia. Oh, let me think about this. Lorna would bring in orcs, but Sonia is an elf. And Sonia also has this primordial icon on here. So I think, and look at her attack, 3. I think I'm going to go with Sonia. Here we have Sonia's 3 cards, True Shot, Running Shot, and Scorn. This is going to be fun. All right, so that was our 3rd one. Now let's look at what our last ones is going to be. We have Kaldrak or Gypsy. As much as I really like the idea of having an elf wizard, which would be awesome, if you see here our half orc over here, Kaldrak, first of all, he's got a really nice melee attack. He has actual armor for defense, which is important. So he can kind of be more of our, I don't know what you'd call it, our tank, that's the word. And he does have one of the same, he's a marshal, which is also the same as one of our other heroes. And of course, that other hero would be Sonia. I couldn't remember who it was. I had to look. So you see, they both are martial. So that means that they could both use martial cards. So I think we're going to go with Kaldrak. Kaldrak has Smite, awesome, Divine Aura, and Righteous Prayer. I love it. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so we now have our 4 heroes. After drafting your 4 heroes, you want to place them out on the table, making sure you have lots of space below them. Because what you're going to be doing is every round, or every cycle, I should say, you're going to be placing a card out on the table underneath one of these heroes and activating them. So if I activate Sonia, I'll play 2 or 3 cards for Sonia. Boom. Then after that, the next one, I'll do Kaldrak, and I'll place cards underneath there. And so those cards will stay out until the end of the entire round, and there's only 4 rounds, but at the end of that entire round, then these cards get discarded. So you just need to make sure you have room down here. Now, I didn't mention this, but you can see these numbers here, like this is 19, 20, 15, and 11. That's because that's the numbered hero they are. There are a total of 21 heroes if you have the Kickstarter. So awesome. There's so much replayability here. It's insane. Think of all those combinations. Oh, man. Okay, so now what you'll do is you'll grab hero activation tokens. You'll place them out on each of the cards. And then what you're going to do is when you activate one of your heroes, whichever one it is, you'll remove that so you remember, hey, I activated them. Lastly, you'll want to grab their miniature. And you can see I have these awesome painted miniatures. Totally amazing and worth it. I really like how they look. These actually were not painted by Charles Carper. I just got the painted version of the game. I don't know if that's going to be able to be purchasable through retail. I have a feeling not. But if you paint them, they look really cool. And you can see I put the blue snap-on bases. But with the solo game, you probably don't need to do that because you're going to have the only minis on the board. So since you're the only one who has minis on the board, you could take those off. But you might need them, especially if you don't have the painted version. Then what you want to do is shuffle up the 12 starting cards for your heroes and draw 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be our starting hand. Next, you want to grab your draft bonus chart and 2 of these reference cards. Now, these reference cards are awesome. The only thing I don't like about them is they don't give you a round summary. I wish there was a round summary card. Oh well. And then what you'll do is you'll place, remember this little teeny tiny blue token we had before? You'll place that right here to denote, okay, each round we can have a hand size of 6 and a discard limit of 1. But the more cards we draft into our deck, the higher we have for discarding cards and our hand limit. And you might be going, well, why would you discard cards? You'll see in the playthrough. It's really important and very strategic on discarding cards so you can get new cards in your hand depending on who you're going to want to activate. Now we're going to need to place our minis on the board to denote where we want to start our heroes. We have to place 1 up here and 3 in the back row. So I think Kaldrak in the front is a no-brainer. And then I think I'll have Root straight behind him, followed by Sonia over here and Melinda on this side. Perfect. Look at that team ready to take on the enemies. Next, let's set up our dungeon. We'll have 2 level 3 tiles, 4 level 2 tiles, and 6 level 1 tiles. You randomly choose them. I already did it off camera. I'll just place them on top, and then what we'll do is we'll reveal the top 2. And each time we explore, we can choose one of the 2 to explore into. Each tile will denote which enemies will be on the actual tile to start with. So we have 4 goblins. I like to preset them up so that when I draft them, I can just put them right on the table. On this tile, we have 2 goblins and a Varg. Okay, now each one of these, they have their stats in the 4 corners as well as the amount of XP that they'll earn you when you beat them or defeat them. But they all also have a special ability that's on the cards that I had over on the side of the board over there. So we'll look at those when we start getting these enemies on the board. Something that's important to note, for the solo game, if we do end up winning, because I'm going to play the win-loss where you have to complete a specific quest in order to win. But then if we do win, we can count up our points, and points are all based on XP. But for every tile that we have not explored, we lose 4 XP for points. So this stack we want to try and get through if possible. Now we're going to set up our offer of cards we can purchase. So to start with, we have level 1 cards, level 2 cards, and level 3 cards. What we're going to do is we're going to start with these level 1 cards, and these are going to be the ones that we can purchase. But once this first level of XP tokens are claimed, we'll then move to the level 2. Then after this stack of XP tokens are claimed, we'll move to the level 3 cards. Now, the amount of these XP all depends upon the player count. For a 1-player game, you'll have 8 XP in the first pool. And for 1 player, the second XP, I've got some 2s in here, you'll have 12 XP. So after we get 8 XP, at the end of whatever round we do that, the next round we'll start getting level 2 cards. And if we eliminate this entire pile, which is a total of 12 XP, we'll then move to this pile of cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle up each stack individually, and then we'll draw the top 5 of this level 1, and those are the 5 cards we can purchase. Let's look at the top 5 cards just quickly so you can see them. We have Slumber, we have Potion of Healing, we have Shield Block, oh cool, we have Trickster, and we have Silver Dagger. So now what's going to happen is at the end of each of our hero activations, we're going to have a solo card that's going to tell us to eliminate or discard 1 or more of these cards. So I'm going to keep these in these order 1 to 5, but then depending upon which cards are eliminated, we're going to see these cycle through pretty quick. So I just want to explain because the solo is a little different than the competitive. In the competitive game, you would look at each card that was revealed, and if no hero could draft this card or use it, we would discard it and draw another one. For example, none of our heroes have stealth, so because of that, if we were playing competitively, we would just discard this card and draw a new one. In the solo game, though, you keep all the cards out on the table. However, we will never be able to get this Silver Dagger because none of our heroes can use it. However, one of our heroes can use this Shield Block because we have this, and actually both of these icons for Kaldrak, so he can use the Shield Block. Since we're playing solo, we also get our 16 card solo deck together, and what we do is we reveal the first one. So what's really nice about this game is you'll know what's going to happen at the end of the round, which is great. At the top here, this is an action that's mandatory no matter what, and you'll always be able to do whatever it is. So this one will say we have to discard the first card in the row of upgraded cards, and then we remove from the game the fourth card down in that row, and we can never get that card again. The reason why this is different is you can technically purchase cards from the discard pile at a 1 additional XP cost. Cards removed from the game, though, you can't. After that, you either have to do one of these two actions here or do this action. And I will tell you, this action is always not as bad for us as this action. So we're always going to try and activate this one if possible. And we'll go through how this works in the playthrough. Lastly, because I want to play with quests, because I think the quests are really cool, we're going to have 3 quests for the game. We start with a low, medium, and high difficulty quest. Now, depending on what type of level of difficulty you want to play, you can say you have to complete 1, 2, or even 3 of these quests. I'm going to try to play at Adept, which is completing 2 of these. But if I can, I'd really like to do the boss, because I think it'd be really fun to try and go against a boss. I'm going to be honest, I've never beaten a boss. I have never played that. I've only played at the novice level where I just had to complete 1 of them. So each one is a little bit different. You have to do different things to trigger them and then to resolve them. If you do, you get the XP that's noted here. So you'd get 3 XP, 5 XP, and 7 XP. And that, my friends, is the setup for Dungeon Alliance. There's a lot going on. There's lots of little tokens. I'm also doing this right away, right after it came out. So do let me know if I missed anything. I will be doing this in episodes so I can make and fix errors if possible, or at least mention them. So yeah, let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much, and I will see you in the playthrough.